Okay, welcome to another edition of Lion News. Lion News can be found at lionnews00.blogspot.com. Today is January 17th, 2011. And what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about how the media is a weapon. All right? So that means radio, television, newspaper, flyers, bullhorning, YouTube are all weapons. And those are the favorite weapons of the crooked cops, lawyers, and judges, because they can spread the information of their malicious prosecutions throughout the population with great ease. All right? And as you know from watching our videos, that both John and I have been subjected to smear campaigns. This is the one that was against me for when I was trying to expose local corruption at the Law Enforcement Center on March 16, 2009. Okay? And so they ran this in the newspaper and hoped that I would stop. Well, actually, it just gave me more publicity, so I had no reason to stop. I was happy that they responded to me, see? Because they knew that I was a threat to them, so they had to respond. All right? Also, when we were exposing local corruption in Swift County, they were trying to steal John's farm. What happened? They did the same thing. See, the other one, that was a news article that they put in, kind of in the middle of the paper. But what they did with John's situation and my situation in Swift County is they put it on the front page of the newspaper. Okay? This is Wednesday, April 28th, 2010. All right? Credible threats lead to enhanced court security. All right? And so obviously they considered John's video, his clear, precise, and unquestionable evidence that Judge John Staffsholt was a crook, and that Judge David Menace was covering it all up. They had to respond. They immediately ran to the county commissioners and came up with this phony story. All right, so that's what they hoped to do, that the average idiot out there would believe their lies. Okay, well, we didn't fall for it. And what did we do to counter it? Well, we immediately came out with our own information, and this was immediately put out. I think it was within the next day or the same day we found out about the smear campaign. Well, this information started getting out there and countered it. See? And John got video of the county commissioners and the sheriff, and boy, they couldn't answer any of John's questions. So you could see it was all a trumped up phony defamation news article there, trying to smear John and smear me. See? So that's what happens when they get caught, engaging in criminal activity. They try to smear you as fast as they possibly can. All right? Now, on the flip side of that, what happens is when you've got them by, like I like to say, you got a rat by the tail and you refuse to let go, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to want to keep as quiet as possible. All right? And to explain that, I've got this couple of videos here by this Bob Card. He's being interviewed about crisis communication on ITV television. Okay, now he's going to be talking about Japan, Japanese corporations, but it's going to apply the same thing to American corporations. And like I said in a previous video, your county is set up as a corporation. All right, so anytime he says corporation here, you can put in the word county there, or he says corporate employee or official, just put in elected official. Same thing. Okay, so we're going to hear the first video.
There's something called the paradox of transparency that I think is really important here. Our advice to clients is to come out and admit right away if you've done something wrong in a very transparent and open way. And in Japan in particular, the corporate reaction, if senior management becomes aware of something that has gone wrong, it's to cover it up, it's to keep quiet, it's to make sure at all costs it never gets its way into the newspapers. So even though it's counterintuitive and ironic, we say come out, put the facts on the table, take control of the news cycle, and define in a positive way what is the reality of this crisis, so you can inspire confidence as a trusted company.
Is that a typical style in the US?
I think very much so. I think the modern crisis communications discipline, this paradox of transparency that I mentioned, it's a little more widespread there. But let's face it, as long as there's corporate malfeasance, scandal, mistakes are made, then this is going to be a constant challenge that companies have to master, regardless of geography.
There have been a number of scandals recently. Maybe if I'm specific, like looking at Mitsubishi Fuso, with the wheel coming off the truck and the way that was handled, the hiding information, and then to my surprise, the person that was killed, the family suing, and actually Mitsubishi Fuso going to court over that rather than settling quietly. If you were advising, for example, Mitsubishi Fuso, what would you have recommended?
Don't cover it up in the first place. Because later on, when the facts come out, and this era of blogging and of internet ubiquity, the truth always comes out in the end. So don't even try to cover it up. If you've done something wrong, come out and put the cards on the table. Take responsibility for what you've done. It's a lot more costly in the end for a company to have to invest in rebuilding a tarnished image that's destroyed, because the story becomes the cover-up, how you tried to conceal information from the public. That's not a very trustworthy response, is it?
Right, not at all. Does Edelman...
Okay, so what do they do when they're on the defensive? Okay, they cover it up, okay? You don't see front page news stories of Judge John Stashel denying the allegations, do you? You do not see front page news stories of Chad Larson denying that he sent a weapon into the Todd County jail, do you? You don't see a front page news story of David Menace denying the fact that he was arrested, and resisted arrest. No, you don't see any of those things. See? What they've done is allowed these, John and I, to continue with our message. See? Because they are forced to invoke their right to remain silent, because anything they say can and will be used against them in a court of law. Okay? And this is where this Bob Picard again, on ITV, it's dated June 28th, 2009, will explain that the PR, the public relations people, will strive to get the truth out there. But the lawyers, if they realize that they are criminally negligent, will say, no way, you are not putting that information out there, because, they're essentially going to be, admitting to criminal liability, and they don't want to do that. See? So you'll see the same situation here. Okay?
It'd be a difficult question to answer, but would you, on occasions, advise clients, never let this situation get to court, for example, if like with a faulty product, settle this out of court, deal with the family. Are you giving that type of advice to companies?
Well, usually we give advice, and there's a lawyer sitting right next to us when we offer such counsel.
Right.
So sometimes we will say, come out and speak the truth and put the facts out there, and the lawyer will be saying, well, no, don't do that. Let's cut a quiet deal and hope this never comes out. So there is kind of a friction quite often between the role of the public relations counselor and the role of the legal counsel who's there on these issues. I would say that in many cases we try to avoid making a negative proposition famous. And when you think, you know communication so well, Paul, think about it. What causes news? It's the clash between things. It's not different shades of gray, it's black versus white. It's not people agreeing about things, it's people disagreeing. So we try to avoid these clashes. So if something can be handled in a more quiet, harmonious, everyone wins type way, we will not disagree with that counsel, provided this does not compromise coming out with the truth in the first place.
Right. I was...
Okay, see? So the whole strategy for the lawyer is to keep the truth hidden, all right? Because then they can cut some sort of deal. Well, see, like I said, again, you don't see any front page news stories of Judge John Stashel saying that, he denies all the allegations. John was saying he stole money from him, okay? That he destroyed records, okay? Nothing in the newspaper about that. Just a wall of silence. Okay, that's because their own attorneys are saying, hey, you need to invoke your right to remain silent, because anything you say can will be used against you in a court of law. See, here's John Besser putting out information right in front of the Swift County Courthouse right there. There's a sheriff's vehicle right there. Okay, one got put right on his vehicle too. See? So, and this is what's being handing out right here. Okay? Fraud, resisting arrest, obstruction of justice, conspiracy, theft of a farm. Boy, you'd think that the judge would want to make sure that all those allegations were denied, and John would be punished, or I would be punished for information like that. See? Again, here, look. Here's the sheriff's vehicle right here. Judge John Staff shows a crook. No, never heard anything in the front page of the newspaper about that. Wall of silence. Remember, again, they're invoking the right to remain silent because they're on the defensive. All right. Here's John John Besser at Swift County with a bullhorn, saying this exact same thing. Okay. And this is on November 18th of last year. Okay. Wasn't in the front page of the newspaper. Here's at Pope County Courthouse. Okay. November 18th. Same thing. Got a bullhorn saying Judge John Staff Schultz a crook. His wife was assaulting people. Well, let's look what happened in the newspaper. See? On November 18th, records check, medical, text message complaint, burglary report in Starbucks, deer on the road. That's what you see in the local law enforcement log. Nothing about arrest of John Besser, for slandering Judge John Staffschulte, do you? No. See? And why? Because they're invoking their right to remain silent. Because they do not want the general public to know what they're up to. Remember, they're hiding. See? Because they got caught engaging in smear campaigns and theft and all sorts of fun stuff. And see, here was the newspaper was helping these people. West Central Tribune, the Kirk Oven Banner, the Swift County Monitor. See, when the facts start getting out there, and you're bold and brave and willing to proclaim the truth out there, all of a sudden their little co-conspirators decide they aren't willing to help anymore. See? So maybe these newspapers don't want to even put a front page article of John Staffschulte denying the charges, or Chad Larson denying the charges, or Tim Riley denying the charges, or any of these crooks that we've got, we've got clear, precise, and unquestionable evidence about, giving them an out, because they're tired of helping them out. See? What they're hoping you will do is get a gun and start shooting people. See? So then that could be on the front page of the newspaper, because then that's safe. See? But when the topic is about them and their conspiracy, boy, they don't want to talk about that at all. But anytime they can talk about you, they're more than willing to do that if they've got something they can get you with. Okay? But again, here's John Besser, like I said, right at the courthouse. Nothing happened to him. And remember, I was threatened by Belvin Dobert on, I think it was December 14th of last year, saying that I should take all this information off my website. I'm still here. Haven't had a lawsuit, haven't been charged with any crime, see? Because they know anything they say in the criminal complaint will be used against them in a court of law, see? So again, don't be scared off by these crooks, all right? Expose them. Get your documentation in order. File your complaints. Send off your complaints via certificate of mailing, because they'll destroy your records. All right? Make sure you have video of your police reports, because they'll bury it. Make sure you get out there with flyers and educate the public. Get out a bullhorn and educate the public. The key is to get out there and refuse to be silent, because they want you to crawl into a corner and go away. See? They do not want you proclaiming the truth from a mountaintop. And that's what it is. Because they can't handle that exposure. Because what you're doing is you're pulling off the sheep's clothing off the wolf. So do not stop from pulling the sheep's clothing off the wolf. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.